West Michigan's only mixed martial arts show. UFC, Strikeforce, Fedor Rumors. Get them here at The Way of the Warrior or online at ESPN961.com.
ESPN 961, it is Way of the Warrior, your MMA connection on Fridays and Saturday nights at 7 o'clock. Eric O'Brien, and along with me, the movie is called Once I Was Champion. It tells the life of Evan Tanner, who sadly passed on the 8th of September 2008. With us, the director, Gerard Smith. Gerard, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Reaching almost completion of the film, so I'm getting pretty excited.
How did you get involved in the project? Were you close to Evan, or what spawned the whole documentary?
Just to sum up real quick, I'm a huge MMA fan. I've trained MMA myself for a long time, and I originally was just looking up Evan's blogs because he was one of the only guys that was actually blogging about MMA, and I thought that would be more about training and stuff, and I started reading his blog, and it really had nothing to do with training or MMA, and I kind of got hooked in, reading some of it and listening to some of his problems, and I sent him a couple emails saying that it would be pretty inspirational if Evan sobered back up and got back in the ring, and he seemed to like the idea. And at the time I was in college, and I said all I have is a camera, but I'd like to kind of document you, and he was up for the idea. Then my uncle passed away back in Scotland, and I decided to go and make a film about him. Missed the opportunity to actually hook up with Evan. So once I came back and Evan had passed away, I just felt it was the natural progression of things for me to make a film about him.
And the interesting thing about Evan, well, everything about Evan was interesting, but as a fan, just to watch the way that he operated, and I can tell you just the 7 videos that are up on YouTube at the YouTube channel Once I Was Champion are very hard to watch. Was it hard to make this film? Because so many people were touched by Evan that you can see it come through just on these tiny 1-minute clips.
Yeah, no, it was. I've been editing the film for probably about 3.5 months, and it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done because you're dealing with a really hard subject matter every single day, and it kind of takes a toll on you. And especially, I've actually grown some relationships with a lot of these people that are in the film. Some of them have become really good friends of mine, so it's really hard to deal with, but at the same time there's also a lot of really happy stories about Evan and stuff that kind of lift you back up, and the film is really meant to be inspirational, even though it deals with really hard subject matter, so it has that quality about it which definitely lifts you up, so. Yeah,
because his big thing was just believing in himself and doing things that people would tell you were impossible. He was big into just going out and doing whatever you wanted to do. I mean, if it's living in a boat or going for a hike or beating alcoholism, whatever it was, Evan was into just the believing, like it says on your website, believing in the power of one. Is there an interview, though? The Wade one sticks out in my mind, but I obviously haven't seen the film. Is there an interview other than Wade's snippet that I've seen that kind of stands out as maybe the pinnacle or Evan's life in a nutshell?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's tons. I mean, Wade actually is one of Evan's closest friends, and the ironic thing is Wade's relationship with Evan was mostly over the phone. Wade was from Amarillo and only actually hung out with Evan a few times, but he kept in touch with Evan every single day, and most people couldn't do that because Evan was all over the place and he would lose a lot of contact with people, but Wade was one of the people that knew him best. There's a few other people that obviously knew him really well. His ex-fiancée, Danita, and his friend Ian Daw. Quite a few people really summed up his whole kind of life in a nutshell. Very, very nice.
It looks like it's going to be an amazing film. Where people want to get a hold of it, do you have a time? I know there is no release date yet, but you got a timeline as to when we're going to be able to see it?
Well, the funny thing is, I thought that I was done with the film. I thought that the rough cut was done, and we were ready to start moving along. And you do your sound mixing and your color correction and all that. And I swore a few months ago that I would never do another interview unless I got Dana White. Lo and behold, this week I got a phone call and Dana White wants to do an interview for the film.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm supposed to be going to Vegas next week, which to meet Dana, doing the interview on the Wednesday, and then I'm going to obviously recut the film and incorporate Dana into that. So that's a pretty big deal. I'm a big UFC fan, and I follow a lot of Dana's blogs online and stuff as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see his perspective on Evan.
Wow, that's going to be awesome. How long is the cut going to be? 2 hours?
I'm on my fourth rough cut. Started off at 2 hours 40, then 2:20, then two hours, and then now it's about the hour and 45 minute mark, which is, I think, reasonable. think that's a good pacing for it. So
it's funny. I noticed on the Underground that many people were like, "Could you make it 8 or 10 hours?" Because I still don't think you'd be able to capture it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had that request sent to me in private emails, and people calling me on the phone, and it's just like it's pretty funny. Well, I'm going to have a lot of bonus content on the DVD and Blu-ray because there's obviously a lot of stuff that's not going to make it into the film, and most of those interviews that you even see online are not going to make it into the film. Those are clips that I thought were too good to leave on the cutting room floor, but were not actually good enough to put in the film because there's so much profound stuff that people say. So maybe one or two of them will actually make it into the cut, but there's going to be a ton of content, a ton of bonus content, a lot more personal stories that you just don't have time to kind of flesh out in a 2-hour film.
Gerard, when you see stuff like this, like I remember the first time I saw The Smashing Machine and just how amazing a documentary on mixed martial arts that is, or Rickson Gracie's Choke. And like I said, the things that I've seen on YouTube for Once I Was Champion. Is this something for you? Do you think you'll do another MMA-themed documentary? Is this kind of taking you in that direction, or what will you do next?
That's a good question. And, I haven't really thought about it. I'm kind of in the trenches, and I don't really look that far ahead. I've got a couple of my business partners. One of the guys, my friend Lance, has been with me since day one, and hopefully we can do something that's his idea, and I can kind of take the passenger seat for once. So I kind of need a break.
Yep, absolutely.
But as far as MMA is concerned, I mean, I love MMA. It's a huge part of my life, and I definitely would love to be involved in future MMA things down the line. Maybe that's something I can talk to Dana about. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to do more MMA stuff.
Well, if I can suggest a sequel, I would highly recommend Bas Rutten, a documentary.
Well, Bas is actually in this film as well.
Yeah, I saw that. You've got Bas and Chael Sonnen, Forrest Griffin, Randy's in it, Matt Lindland, Baroni, all those guys are in it. There's a ton of stars that you obviously recognize if you're a UFC fan and may not be an Evan Tanner fan. I would find this movie when it comes out.
Yeah, and it's just amazing that some of these guys have so many great stories as well. I'm actually really good friends with Baroni now. I went to Thailand with him and stuff.
Oh, wow.
During a break from the film, just to kind of clear my head before I went into post-production, went out there and trained with Baroni, and I'm actually real good friends with the guy. So I'm actually going to be shooting a pilot for another TV show coming up that is maybe going to feature Baroni and a couple of other guys from the film doing more little segments on their life. Did
you train at Fairtex when you were in Thailand, or where did you train?
I trained at Tiger Muay Thai.
Gotcha. Very cool. Well, Gerard, when this gets close to being done, can we have you back on to talk about where people can get it?
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you guys are going to want to talk about once you see the film and see the actual cut of it. But expect it to be done in the next month to 2 months, probably a month for me to get the cut finalized, and then another month before it's all mixed and colored and ready to go.
Awesome. The movie is called Once I Was Champion. Gerard Smith, we will keep tabs on you because I cannot wait to watch this movie. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and we will hopefully talk to you soon.
All right, thanks so much.
More Way of the Warrior next.